function. Gotta walk through a fire for what's important. And the warrior's blood through your veins is coursing.
He goes outside. He's got Ledford with him. Chris Blassie is going to win it at the line here in Daytona.
Every move, take your shot, don't make a fool. All you got and all you ever need is one bullet in the chamber. So what you gonna do? One bullet in the chamber. Rain needs to take your aim, but ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you gonna do? Now the whole world's watching every move. Take your shot, don't make the fool. All you got and all you ever need.
He's gonna drive up into him. Can Coots hang on to it off the corner? Coots gets it.
It's one bullet in the chamber. Ready to take your aim, but ain't nobody gonna save you. So what you
Drivers
gonna
side by side coming out of turn 4. Rapp with the 52 on the outside, the 99 to the inside. Rapp's gonna win it at Auto Club.
do? So what you gonna do?
If it's Tuesday, that means it's the Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance, live from Slingshot Racing League. Welcome, everybody. I'm Ellis Thomas alongside Chris Smith in the booth tonight. We're bringing you live racing action in the NASCAR trucks from Darlington for the UD Awards Southern 200. Dubbed the track too tough to tame, Darlington lives up to its fearsome reputation. This iconic circuit is a relentless challenge, an unforgiving battlefield where the slightest misjudgment can exact a steep toll. Errors here occur in the blink of an eye, and their consequences are severe. Even the seasoned drivers who navigate this 1.36-mile circuit unscathed usually carry a Darlington stripe as a badge of honor, a testament to their close encounters with the unforgiving walls. It's a proving ground like no other. What sets Darlington apart is its unique egg-shaped design, a masterful engineering feat that gracefully accommodated the constraints of a highway to the north and a pond to the southwest. This track is a true testament to the marriage of innovation and tradition. Darlington's been an integral part of the NASCAR Premier Series since its inauguration back in 1950. Back then, it was just one of two paved ovals in NASCAR, and the only one exceeding half a mile in length. Darlington was, in essence, the birthplace of the superspeedway concept in stock car racing. Prior to the legendary Daytona 500 in 1959, the Southern 500 reigned supreme as the most prestigious and financially lucrative race on the Premier Series calendar. Chris, the original grandstands from 1958 are still in use today, and not much has really changed about this track since the beginning. It was a challenge then, and it's just as much, if not more, of one now for these drivers. What are they going to have to do for 146 laps tonight to make it to the end of the longest race of our season?
You mentioned it. Not much has changed here. I think the only thing that has is they've reversed where the start-finish line is. It's where the backstretch used to be, but this is still the same challenging, difficult racetrack it's always been. The racing groove here is very, very narrow now. It used to not be as narrow as it is because drivers used to be able, when these cars were a little bit slower, to be all over the place. We got about 55 laps on a tank of fuel tonight. I don't think that we'll see a lot of drivers go 55 laps. I think we might see 3 segments, 3 stints in this race. Everybody pitting at least twice. 146 laps around here. So this is one of our longer races of the season. 27 trucks and that high tire degradation. We're going to be wearing these Goodyear Wranglers out all night tonight.
Chris, that's one of the tire stories is tire wear. We're going to be keeping an eye on several stories to follow for our fans during the race here momentarily, but before that, we're going to get to the slingshot racing fan favorite tradition, the playing of the national anthem before the race starts. We'll catch you on the other end of the national anthem. All right, back here in Darlington, South Carolina, getting ready for the UD Awards Southern 200 from Slingshot Racing League and the Apex Energy Truck Series. Tonight presented by Hank Thomas Performance. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith in the booth. Thanks for joining in. If you're watching right now on YouTube, go ahead and give us a like, subscribe to our channel. Doesn't cost you a single thing. If you enjoy what you're seeing so far and looking forward to the racing tonight, let us know by hitting that like and subscribe button. Chris, going to talk about several stories for fans to follow here shortly, but the biggest story of all right now, headed into the final 2 races of the season, are the point standings for the Apex Energy Truck Series Championship presented by Hank Thomas Performance. And it's that HTP truck leading the field here. Aaron Smith is your points leader. Randy Bechdel, Scottie Sobczak, pretty close in tow, Chris, but they're going to have to do something tonight. And they're going to have to really, I think it's a win or go home situation for Randy Bechdel and Scottie Sobczak. If one of those drivers, including Jacob Bradley, can't really close any ground on Aaron Smith tonight, we might as well hand the trophy over to Aaron.
Yeah, it's a pretty commanding lead for Aaron Smith, and it's like you said, nobody is, those guys that you mentioned are not necessarily mathematically eliminated tonight. But the task becomes very, very, very difficult next week at Charlotte. If you don't have a maximum points night, and honestly, you got to hope for a little bit of a bad night from Aaron Smith tonight.
And anything can happen. Darlington is a tough track. We've seen moments of humanity from Aaron Smith earlier this season at Rockingham, where he bounced off of Jacob Bradley and collected himself into the wall. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that. But if anything can happen, tonight's a track where it can happen, Chris. This is a tough track. Drivers are going to have a lot of challenges moving throughout the night. This is a narrow track. It's a tight space. You're going to have to get close to the wall if you're going to have speed, Chris, particularly in turn 1. But how quickly does that wall jump out at you as a driver?
Oh, it's very, very easy to go up there and grab it. And you mentioned it. It feels like it comes out and grabs you at times. To be fast, and especially in turns 1 and 2, you've got to be able to put that right side up there pretty close to it, run down the hill, and then come really close to it on corner exit. So it's a risk versus reward thing. How close are you willing to get it for the speed, but also try to keep the right side on that truck?
And we're going to talk about the importance of setting up your passes and what that looks like. We'll talk about that as the race goes on. It's not easy to pass, but the skilled drivers will do it tonight. Throwback schemes. Tonight's the throwback night at Darlington. We've kind of taken that official NASCAR tradition and run with it, Chris. I think we've got at least 20 throwback trucks in the field tonight. They'll all be competing for a prize, a die-cast at the end of the night, as drivers will vote on the best paint schemes. But we're also going to give fans an opportunity to vote on what they think the best paint scheme is tonight. We'll throw that link up in the chat later, Chris. Tonight, 4 drivers also go for the Buttkicker Bracket Challenge Finals. 4 left. Only 2 will move on to the finale this season to win a Buttkicker Gamer Plus haptic feedback setup that will allow them to feel every vibration in their simulated race car. Wesley Pistole is going up against James Danforth, and Jacob Chase is going up against Matt Kuntz. I know we got some Jacob Chase fans in the chat. Good luck to all of those drivers tonight. Chris, you mentioned it, tires. These drivers are going to have to do everything they can to save tires throughout the night. And when it's time to change tires, they're going to have to come to pit road. And I'm a driver who absolutely hates pit road at Darlington. It's a very difficult entry at the beginning to turn 3. I've missed it before. Chris, you ever missed pit road entry at Darlington?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's very, very easy to miss. You know, it stretches all the way around there to turns 3 and 4. There's a couple of different approaches you can have. You can hit the apron early and try to, you know, just get the truck woed down, try to cut it as short as you can, or you can slow down from the banking and then try to come down the hill. So be looking to see the different approaches drivers have.
It's going to be interesting for sure. And one of those drivers who is going to be seeing everything the track has to offer tonight and have all of those challenges. I know a lot of fans in the chat for driver 00. His name is Nick DeCesare, but he's showing up as Buckshot Jones in the race tonight in that 00 truck. Buckshot or Nick, whatever you want to be called tonight. First of all, appreciate you joining us for a short interview. Tell us about that paint scheme you're running in that 00 truck.
It's I believe it was his Bush car. It was in I think it was 2000. Buckshot Jones. That's why I drive the 00. It's my number and everything, so it's kind of like a throwback to him, I guess.
So a childhood fan of Buckshot Jones, huh?
Yeah, I always kind of picked the guys who weren't very good.
The underdog. Hey, who doesn't like an underdog story? Hey, speaking of underdogs, what are you going to have to do tonight? What's the biggest challenge driving Darlington?
For me, the biggest challenge is driving this track. It's by far my worst track, and that's saying a lot because I'm not too great at ovals. But I have a really hard time getting in the rhythm and staying there to keep it off the wall, because I think, like, especially in turn 1 and 2, you have to stay up by the wall to be fast.
Oh, man, it's going to be tough. Drivers are going to have a tough task in front of them. Nick DeCesare, any shout-outs for fans watching right now?
You know, there's usually a couple guys that are watching for Very Racing, myself and Matt. It's going to be Adrian and Brendan Garvey, and maybe his brother too. I think Owen might be in there. So
I think Owen is definitely in here.
So hi to them, and then, you know, hi to everyone else in the chat, and hi to you guys. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going great. It's going to be a fun race to watch tonight, especially watching that 00 Buckshot Jones Cheez-It scheme. Man, go out there and have fun, and yeah, enjoy.
Good luck, Buckshot.
Don't get too cheesy out there.
Yeah, if I win, everyone gets Cheez-Its, so you can book that.
Hey, we're going to hold you to it, man.
Okay.
Good luck. All right, so you heard from Nick DeCesare in that 00 Cheez-Its paint scheme. We're going to be looking at a handful of these throwback schemes, pretty much every one of them over the night. We'll let you vote on what your favorite one is at the end of the evening, or maybe before then, actually. We'll throw the link up in the chat for the ballot and let you know when that's available. But Chris, man, it's going to be an exciting night of racing here. Got another 2 laps moving around under pacing for these drivers to kind of get warmed up, to get lined up. I believe we're going to be coming to the 1 to go here. He mentioned it. Just getting close to the wall without hitting it at Darlington is an absolute challenge. What's it like to set up for a pass? What are you looking at to try to set up a pass if you're trying to get by a driver? What's the most important thing these drivers are going to have to remember?
Well, when I'm passing people here at Darlington, I think of I'm thinking of passing people on corner exit. I'm thinking about getting the run on them, getting off the corner better than them, getting alongside of them on the straightaway, and force them to have to maybe let me go before we get to the corner, because turns 1 and 2, it is impossible, next to impossible, to race side by side through there. It's so difficult. I can't even put it into words how difficult it is. Turns 3 and 4, it's possible to race side by side through there, but it is very, very narrow, and you are on a razor's edge trying to get through there as well. So I want to try to pass people coming off the corner. So I want to try to get off the corner better than them, get my nose underneath them, and force them to let me go on that next straightaway.
Well, man, I know these drivers are eagerly anticipating the drop of this green flag. Got a lot of fans in the chat tonight. Appreciate everyone joining in. Right now, Pace Car peels out. He doesn't want to have anything to do with what's about to happen out here. Scottie Sobczak is your pole sitter. Dustin Scruggs is going to start second. They wind their way out of turn 4, waiting for that flagman to wave the green. It is out. We are underway here at Darlington in the Apex Energy Truck Series, presented by Hank Thomas Performance. Drivers head down into one of the most treacherous tracks. Bradley almost loose with the 58 of Justin Wilson almost up into his left side. Everyone makes it through the turn there. Scottie Sobczak is your leader, continues to lead Dustin Scruggs. That's Randy Bechdel in that bright yellow number 51 Dollar General paint scheme, Chris. Seeing a couple of lines develop. Jacob Bradley tried to make something work on the outside there. Everyone just right now trying to get settled in, though.
Yeah, you saw Jacob Bradley get that run up on the top right there. We're going to watch turns 3 and 4 and see what people's approach is, see what their mentality is. Do they want to run up there on that wall in 3 and 4? Because on that end of the track, you really got some options as far as your line goes. There's really only one line that's fast through 1 and 2, but down here in 3 and 4, you got a couple different approaches that you can take.
And we're going to be following that over the course of the evening. You can see drivers taking different lines, and you can see I saw Jonny Rapp get really loose earlier and almost get the wall. He probably did get the wall. And Chris, you're going to get the wall throughout the night. No harm, no foul. If you don't do any damage to the car that impacts the steering or suspension, drivers just keep on going like nothing ever happened. I think we both had experience with that. Probably if you're a sim racer and you're watching this race, you know exactly what we're talking about. Car will be great. So right now, looking through the field, everyone is kind of straightened out single file. Scottie Sobczak is your leader. Dustin Scruggs with a good start. We see him for a handful of races this season. He's in that 11 truck, sitting really good right now. Trying to figure out what's going on with that number 11 truck. That's a special paint scheme. It looks like some sort of TRD paint scheme. I don't know if that's a kind of a representation of a factory car or not for that number 11, but it does look pretty good.
It does look good, and yeah, he's had that thing really running well for these past couple weeks, so not surprised at all to see Dustin Scruggs up here. First couple times we saw him qualify that well is a little bit of a surprise, but it's becoming a little bit more of the norm. We'll see if he can put it together and have himself a quality run tonight. Long way to go here in this race.
That is a long way to go. Just 5 laps down of 146, and the entire field, including Dustin Scruggs, trying to chase down that number 81 machine out in front right now. And it's blue, Chris, but it's a little bit different blue paint scheme for Scottie Sobczak, that driver out of California tonight who almost gets the wall out of turn 3. I believe that is a throwback to a Craftsman Truck Series paint scheme. Is that a Joe Ruttman paint scheme?
Yep. That's that Dana paint scheme that you saw him run. It was owned by Bobby Hamilton Racing, a mainstay in the Truck Series in the early days, and Joe Ruttman actually got a few wins in that truck. Joe Ruttman went all of his career, did not win a Cup race, ran a lot of Cup races, but that win eluded him for all those years. But he was a force to be reckoned with in the Truck Series.
Yeah, right now, Scottie Sobczak is a force to be reckoned with that throwback paint scheme on the number 81. Top 5, really the entire field right now, single file. Top 5 is spread out pretty good, Chris. Justin Wilson is kind of leading a second pack of about 4 or 5 cars sitting back there in 5th position. He's got his number 58 hot rod wound up down there on the inside. He's got Jonny Rapp, Scott Tompkins, I believe that's Aaron Smith, and also Chase Berry right behind him going by Aaron Smith there for the 10th position.
That's Evan Pienta going by
Aaron that is Smith. Evan Pienta.
Yep, moving up into the, you mentioned it, moving up into the 8th position. You saw Aaron, he kind of lifted on the straightaway as we got some 3 wide action back here.
Oh, that's not going
Josh
to work
Ward.
going in that corner.
Oh, and Josh is all the way on the apron. He's trying to give everybody room right there. Sean Johnson battles back on the outside. Man, we got a lot of great throwback paint schemes back here. That's Sean Johnson in the Ricky Craven Tide throwback, and Josh Ward in the M&M's Elias Adler throwback.
Oh, contact! 92 into the 32.
Oh,
He's going
turned
to
him.
collect Sean Johnson, who's going to spin around up into the 38 of Patrick Piper. First caution of the evening is out on lap number 9, Chris. We had the camera in the right place, and we saw that one coming for at least a lap or so with how hard drivers were racing back there.
Yeah, and that's, I mentioned it in the pre-race. It is next to impossible to run side by side in turns 1 and 2. And here, Josh Ward is side by side, and Sean Johnson stays to his outside. Now, sometimes you saw Aaron Smith earlier. Aaron Smith was on the outside of somebody, and he lifted going into turn 1. Sean Johnson decided that he was going to try to race Josh Ward and try to get Josh to lift, and Josh didn't lift either. So sometimes you get into a game of chicken here where neither driver will lift, and unfortunately you see the results that sometimes occur.
Yeah, several drivers going to pay the price. I think Patrick Piper might have gotten a good bit of damage in that NWO paint scheme. He looked like he was thrown into the ropes in a wrestling match there, that number 38, as we watch the replay here of this incident developing on lap number 9. It's going to bring the caution out. Drivers like Scottie Sobczak, Dustin Scruggs, Randy Bechdel. I don't really see any takers on pit road. I do see Aaron Smith, Chris, coming down pit road, leading some drivers like Chase Berry along with him. Patrick Piper, Sean Johnson also come down. What's the strategy here if you're Aaron Smith and Chase Berry coming down pit road on lap number 11? I doubt you're taking tires.
We're going to see what they decide to do. We're actually going to go back to live here. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't think that you would... I don't think that you would take your tires. Yeah, I don't think you would take your tires here. I think they're just trying to do something a little bit different than what the leaders are doing. Maybe they figure that they can go green longer. Now, if you're Aaron Smith, the points leader, now you're back into some heavy traffic. So, luckily he drugged several trucks to pit road with him. Chris Pierce has a lot of damage. We're looking at him on pit road. Patrick Piper, obviously. Sean Johnson, he's getting his damage fixed too. So, some great paint schemes, unfortunately, on the hook early.
Yeah, 32 of Sean Johnson. Not quite the contact that he was hoping to recreate for that number 32 Tide paint scheme, like Ricky Craven driving that car into the wall and into the 97 of Kurt Busch back in the early 2000s. And is that the closest finish in NASCAR history?
I think so. I think it is. I think it's tied maybe with that Talladega 3-wide finish, 4-wide finish back in the tandem era. Maybe even the 3-wide at Atlanta now is up there tied with them as well. But, I think it is definitely right up there tied for first.
Well, there is no tie for first right now on the track because that belongs to Scottie Sobczak. He's going to be the control car on this restart, Chris. Lineup's going to be Sobczak in the 81, Dustin Scruggs in the 11 on the outside. It's going to be up to Sobczak when to mash that throttle and bring the drivers back to green in just about half a lap. Jacob Bradley and Randy Bechdel not too far behind on row 2. Meanwhile, Justin Wilson and Jonny Rapp in the 52 on row number 3. I about said Rapp number 3. Going to talk about a couple other paint schemes here in a moment, but man, that Jimmy Johnson number 50 looking pretty good. Throwback. We see Jacob Bradley run a lot of Jimmy Johnson schemes in the past. This one, I will say it looks good on the truck. That's just one of those paint schemes that is an all-time classic. Pace car peels off. We're going to get ready for the restart here. It's going to be on Sobczak, the leader. See where he goes in that restart zone off of the corner. Goes about pretty early, gets a good jump on the field, Chris. The 81 is off to the races. He's got the whole shot down into turn 1. Meanwhile, Jacob Bradley and Dustin Scruggs carry it side by side down into the corner. Bradley loose. I thought he was going to get up into the front bumper of the number 11 of Dustin Scruggs, but right now everyone is clean and green. Everyone maybe learning their lessons earlier on, but first double file battle, Chris, way back in the 12th position. I'm seeing, looks like 92 of Josh Ward clears Scott Tompkins. That was a battle for the 8th position.
Yeah, we got a battle right here. This looks like it's a battle for the 13th position as Matt Scherf It's going to move ahead of Jacob Chase. Oh, it's getting... Oh, there goes the 7th round. Tony Caputo. Oh, Aaron Smith's in it.
Of the 9 of Patrick Colby.
Aaron Smith is in it.
Out for the second time tonight.
Our points leader, Aaron Smith, has some damage. He got caught up in that. He had nowhere to go, and that is the danger of coming to pit road that early.
You find yourself back in the pack, and Chris, we talk about cautions breeding cautions, and from a driver's perspective, it's frustrating. Maybe from a fan's perspective, it's frustrating. But Chris, we watched a race at Texas Motor Speedway in the Real Life Cup Series just a couple of days ago where you saw 3 or 4 cautions fall within the final 15 or 20 laps. So DW, Darrell Waltrip, always used to say cautions breed cautions, and we're going to watch what brings this caution out. Looks like the 7 and the 9 were kind of the first ones to make contact here.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like Tony Caputo kind of charges the corner right here, runs up on the back of Jacob and yeah, Patrick Colby got in the back of him, got in the back of him a couple of times, and man, Aaron Smith just had nowhere to go. I mean, he was just kind of there. We're gonna ride on board with Aaron so you can see what he saw. He's right behind Patrick Colby. Patrick Colby is unfortunately Aaron Smith's teammate, and I mean, he just has nowhere to go. And hopefully the damage is not too severe on either one of those trucks. I don't think anybody else was involved. We're going to ride on board with one more truck here. We'll see if we can find him. Actually, we're going to ride on board with Chase Berry here to show you what he saw and what he did. He made I think it was a pretty smart move right here. He's right here behind James Danforth. He sees the contact early, and he just he turns left. He gets down on that huge apron down here. And a lot of times in iRacing, you won't see a lot of cautions at Darlington because we got this huge apron that will sometimes not draw the caution if a driver spins down there.
Yeah, and that time it just happened to. And we are under caution, lap 16 of 146. This is a race of endurance tonight, 200 miles, and it's all made possible by UD Awards, Chris. All these drivers chasing the championship trophy that you see at the end of our intro every week. I'm going to take a moment to pay some of these bills and hear from UD Awards. If you're looking for trophies or some custom awards, hit them up. You can find the link to them in our video description. We'll be back on the other end of this break very quickly.
How do we get these one-of-a-kind amazing trophies? Well, we were fortunate to find UD Awards when we started our league. We reached out and we connected with Christopher, and we got started designing these one-of-a-kind works of art. The process was easy from start to finish. After just a few revisions, we finalized each one of them, and the team at UD got to work building each trophy from scratch. They're a small team, but they've got the ability to do just about anything your brain can imagine. And don't worry, if you're not an artist, they've got an entire catalog of unique trophies in pretty much any material you can imagine. Wood, acrylic, glass, and in the case of last season's trophy, metal. The best part, they're affordable. If you're looking for a trophy for your event or league, the choice is simple. UD Awards can give you exactly what you want.
Are you looking for high-quality, affordable sim racing paint schemes and graphics? Then look no further than Evan at Evan Pienta Designs. Driven by speed, Evan Pienta Designs offers a multitude of sim racing graphics, from liveries to social media graphics to team and series logos. To see some of the work done by Evan, or even race one of the public liveries he's made, head on over to tradingpaints.com and search Evan Pienta.
All right, back here at Darlington, gearing up for the restart here on lap number 19, what will be a lap number 19 restart of 146 laps in the UD Awards Southern 200. You heard from them. You heard from Evan Pienta. And Chris, I know that Evan Pienta has done a lot of these paint schemes out there tonight, including his own on that number 55 back there sitting in the 7th position. Got a lot of interesting things going on here, but this is one of 3 cars paint schemes out there tonight that we're seeing Evan and a couple of other teammates run. We'll see some of the other ones later on, but he's Lightning McQueen. That's the famous one. I'm not a cars expert, but I'm pretty sure that's the star of the show. Am I right?
You are right. Yeah, we've got some other cars paint schemes. His teammates, unfortunately, we saw what happened to Tony Caputo, but James Danforth has one as well. So, yeah, a lot of cars paint schemes out here.
A lot of cars, paint schemes on these trucks, the irony there. But right now it's all about Scottie Sobczak and Jacob Bradley leading that front row down for the restart on lap number 19. Scottie Sobczak enters the restart zone, and once again he gets a great restart, headed down into turn 1, bringing several other drivers with him in tow. Jacob Bradley, Justin Wilson, Dustin Scruggs. Battle is side by side for third place. Scruggs on the inside, Justin Wilson to the outside. A little bit of contact there between the 58 and the 11. Bounces off the rear quarter panel of the 58. He gathers it up, but as soon as he does, he's got the 52. Jonny Rapp to worry about down into turn number 3. Rapp slides up the track just a little bit, and that number 52 Federated Auto Parts Chevy Silverado gets a little bit of the wall off of turn number 4 down the front straightaway. Chris, that's a good-looking paint scheme. Who is that? Is that Kenny Schrader in the 52 there?
That's right. That's a Kenny Schrader, longtime sponsor of Kenny Schrader. Still sponsors him in all of his regional dirt track racing that he does. And yeah, Jonny Rapp's got that Federated Auto Parts Chevy up into the 5th spot.
And right behind him, Randy Bechdel, and I'm pretty sure that's a Kyle Busch Dollar General throwback. He's running that number 51 Toyota Tundra. Something about Randy and those Kyle Busch paint schemes. Do you think he's a Kyle Busch fan?
I think that that's a safe assumption, that he is a Kyle Busch fan. And, man, we've seen Kyle Busch win a lot of truck races in this paint scheme here.
Yeah, and Randy Bechdel sitting in the 6th position. He's down a few spots, Chris. Started 3rd, but lost a few spots over the course of this race. Randy's sitting 2nd in points, so we talked about tonight's his night to capitalize. I think I saw Don Hilbrins in the chat said they're going to have to take advantage of this situation with Aaron Smith having some damage early on, Chris. 51, one of those drivers who's got to capitalize. If not with a win tonight, a top 2 or 3 podium finish is going to be needed for the driver of the 51, who's got a win earlier on in the season at Iowa, but definitely looking to get a second one here tonight at Darlington. He's a tough driver. I've raced him at Darlington, and
he's good
he
here.
blew my doors off. I think I finished like 2nd or 3rd to him one year in the trucks, but looking pretty good right now in that 51. Hey, Don says she's met Kenny Schrader. Nice guy. That does not surprise me at all. I think Kenny Schrader is a genuine person.
Yeah, absolutely. And you brought up Randy here. We're going to watch him over the course of this run right here, and hopefully it goes green for a while. And see Jonny Rapp do the same thing. I like that line right down here in 3 and 4. I think that's a line right there, coming down right around that white line, about at the 3/4 mark of the corner right there. I think that line's really going to save a lot of tires down in 3 and 4. So we'll be watching him. Be watching this driver behind him as well, Scott Tompkins. He is in a Jimmy Spencer throwback. And if you have watched Slingshot Racing for the past several seasons, you know that Scott Tompkins probably, the nickname Mr. Excitement probably fits him just as well as it did Jimmy Spencer.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Mr. Excitement running that throwback paint scheme. Can we even show that on TV? I'm not sure if we can show that on TV right now.
I don't know if we can.
We're going to get demonetized. Not that we're monetized at all, but you could help us get monetized eventually if you subscribe to the channel. If you like what you're watching right now and you haven't subscribed. Leader in the wall. Scott Sobczak gets turned by Jacob Bradley. Chris, caution is not out. We are still green flag racing. Going to go back and see if we can check the replay. I saw the battle for the lead developing, and it looks like down into turn number 3, it was a difference of opinions, and the 50 just got in there a little bit too hard.
Yeah, so here they are at turns 1 and 2. We talked about before setting up the pass in the previous corner, and that's what Bradley does right here. He's going to peek to the inside right here going into turn 3. And, yeah, there is some contact.
Sobczak on pit road here.
Yeah, they were just arguing over space a little bit. And I guess that Jacob maybe, Scott's a little bit down the track maybe. I don't know if I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe see if we can see that from, like, the overhead view from the chopper here. But this is a significant turn of events right here.
Yeah, and Scott Sobczak does not get the benefit of a caution. We talked about the narrow racing surface of Darlington. You can have a spin down on the apron, and it won't bring out a caution. He comes down pit road at a slow crawl. He's got significant damage headed down into that wall. He feels like he's got to get repaired here on lap 27 of 146. Chris, that's your third place contender in the points right now. Scottie Sobczak, one of just a handful of drivers who had really a shot to close any ground on Aaron Smith. Randy Bechdel and Jacob Bradley also, I'm wondering, Jacob's about 8 points behind Scottie Sobczak in the standings. Do you think that has anything to do with kind of, not necessarily intentional, but the aggression they're racing with each other this early in the race?
Yeah, I mean, like it could, they are in a tight battle for position and points. I saw Scottie get out of the truck, so I don't know if he got out of the truck to look at the replay, or if he got out of the truck because he's done for the night. But he definitely got out of the truck, and we'll have to keep an eye on see if he gets that damage fixed and gets back out on the track. But yeah, a tough break. I think it was just an argument of space right there. It's kind of hard from what I saw. I bet both drivers feel like the other one was at fault right there, and it's really difficult to make a judgment on that deal there.
A little bit frustrated, probably. Driver the 81 hops out of the truck at least for a brief moment, but green flag is still out on the track. Chris, one of the battles that I'm watching right now, we mentioned it, we were on it momentarily before we swapped to the lead. This battle for sixth between Scott Tompkins, Evan Pienta, and Rye Jones, and that number 91 has also crept into this battle in eighth position. That's a sporty-looking scheme on that number 91. I believe that's a Jimmy Johnson throwback scheme that I think Alex Bowman ran earlier last season.
Evan
Pienta right in front of him in that number 55, but I believe this is a throwback to Jimmy Johnson's dirt truck days in that number 91.
It is, yeah. Jimmy Johnson got his, before he was the 7-time NASCAR Cup Series champion, Jimmy Johnson was an off-road truck driver, and he was really good at it too, and this was, his start. Like, I think he was actually technically under the Chevrolet banner when he was in this truck and in this off-road paint scheme truck. And Rye Jones got this thing out here, and yeah, it's a good-looking ride, and he's got it up into the 8th spot right here, looking to get one more spot from Evan Pienta. Evan, man, we saw him really, really sideways there for a little bit. He kept it straight, but curious to see if he made that right rear tire angry doing all that sliding around.
I suspect it's going to take a few laps at best for that right rear to cool down a little bit. Right now, the 91 in the tire tracks of Evan Pienta, trying to chase him down for the 8th position. That 25 of Scott Tompkins in front of them has moved on to greener pastures, fighting now for the 5th position with Randy Bechdel. So just looking through more paint schemes, Chris, that number 94 right behind this battle, Wesley Pistole, he's got an earful of Josh Ward, who's, I believe, got his lap back, Chris, on that last caution. I believe the 92 was the lucky dog, has worked his way back up to the 10th position. Right now, following closely on the back bumper of the 94. A couple of throwback paint schemes here. I believe the 94 is a throwback. Oh, Evan Pienta, Chris, in the wall again. He's hard in the wall. Number 94, Pistole, 55 of Pienta into the wall. We're still green flag racing, Chris. That 55, we mentioned him earlier having all sorts of trouble. That right rear, all but gone. And boy, oh boy, again, right time, right place for our cameraman. But boy, that's going to set that 55 back. Not sure if the number 92 or 94 got any damage in that little bit of action for Pienta in the 55.
Yeah, we'll go back right here. I think there's definitely damage on the 94. He bounced. Yeah, here. So Evan's just a little bit. Yeah, he's a little bit high too early here. Just gets up against the wall. He's just driving a little bit too hard, unfortunately. And Rye gets to the inside, and man, when somebody gets to the inside of you in 1 and 2, it just really messes your lineup. Yeah, and he bounces off of Wesley Pistole. I don't know how bad the damage is on Wesley's truck as he comes by right here. Hopefully that's just paint. Doesn't look too serious here. I think he might get away with it.
And staying on the wall is not as easy as it might sound, right? You know that you're coming off the wall in turn 4. Why not just keep it in the wall? That car has a mind of its own. Once that sheet metal grabs onto that concrete wall or that safer barrier, Chris, from experience, it's hard to get off of, and it's also hard to kind of control what the truck does. So even though you might want to stay on the wall, that truck can just take a U-turn or make a 180-degree turn with a mind of its own. And I think that might be what happened to Evan Pienta there. Got into a little bit of trouble early. Dorts it out. I think the 92 is going to be fine. I see Wesley Pistole dropping back just a little bit there. We'll keep an eye on the lap times for the 94, but sitting in 9th position, a little bit worse for Ware, but he continues on. Chase Berry, we mentioned earlier, he's sitting in 10th position as we watch this battle going on right now between the 32 of Sean Johnson, Patrick Colby, and Evan Pienta.
I think
things are heating up here. Evan Pienta losing a couple of more spots. Chris, we saw Sean Johnson in some trouble earlier on, but he's rebounded pretty good.
Yeah, I think Evan Pienta's truck is damaged pretty badly here. I think that he has quite a bit of damage after that contact. And yeah, you brought up Sean Johnson. Yeah, he had that early trouble that we saw on entry to turn 1 with Josh Ward, and he's rebounded very nicely. He's battling side by side here with Patrick Colby for the 12th spot. The only bad thing about having the throwback race at Darlington, and there's nothing bad about it, but unfortunately we see these beautiful throwback paint schemes get pretty banged up early on.
Yeah, some of these paint schemes are getting banged up. Hey, in the chat, everyone, appreciate you joining in, whether it's Don, Lovely Days, the Garveys, Justin Rose in here, several other people, Julie Super, John Rapp, Ben Keese. We got a packed out chat. Kathy Scherf in the chat as well. Joe's in the chat. Don asked me how my cruise was, Chris. It was relaxing. About the opposite of what these drivers are experiencing right now here at Darlington. Thanks for asking, Don. Had a really great time as we watch Patrick Colby have a great time getting away from that 32 right now. Colby sitting in 12th position. Looking further back in the field, there's a close battle going on between Jacob Chase, Chris, and the number 88 of James Danforth. Looks like Chase is going to let Danforth by.
And meanwhile,
that was a close one off the corner.
Yeah, Evan Pienta and Patrick. I think the 38, Patrick Piper, has crashed coming onto pit road. Luckily, he was on pit road and it did not draw a caution. But yeah, Evan Pienta has decided to bring that 55 down to pit road to get some of that damage fixed.
Yeah, we mentioned the danger of coming down pit road, and it looks like the number 38 NWO car got into another tag match with the wall there off those tire barriers coming into pit road. Tried to get it woed down quickly, just couldn't quite make it. So Patrick Piper, a little bit of trouble early.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. I was looking forward to seeing that Kyle Petty NWO throwback out here tonight. Had a little bit of fun with that this week in the Discord. If you run that paint scheme, you got to run it for life, right?
For life. We need to get like a Wolfpack paint scheme or something out here as well. The red and black NWO.
Man, that'd be a tense rivalry, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Hey, we're coming up with ideas live in real time here right now. Jacob Chase, though, and Buckshot Jones in that 00, a.k.a. Nick DeCesare, got a lively battle going on right here. 43 better watch out, or he's going to put some more holes in that cheese truck.
Oh, man. That was really, really dicey right there. Jacob Chase, man, I think Nick DeCesare just thought Jacob Chase was going to let him go, and Jacob Chase really held on his right rear there, and, man, that is a recipe for disaster in 1 and 2. I'm telling you, it is hard to get away with running side by side down there.
Yeah, we've had several drivers flirting with disaster over the course of the evening. You mentioned it earlier. A couple of drivers, Jacob Bradley and Scottie Sobczak, had an issue. It's what led to, I'm trying to remember what other caution we had come out earlier.
Sean Johnson and Josh Ward, I think.
Yep, Sean Johnson and the 92 of Josh Ward had issues. Man, we've got an exciting race going on right now. If you're just joining us, it's lap 44 of 146, almost to the third way marker here, coming up in a couple of laps of the UD Award Southern 200. It's 200 miles. This is an endurance race. It's the longest race of the season for these Apex Energy Truck Series drivers, and they have their work cut out for them tonight. Watching several drivers flirt with the wall very closely. It's one of the things you really got to do if you're going to be successful at this racetrack. Looking right around, Chris, you mentioned it earlier, several drivers have some scuffs on their right side and even their left side with car contact from other vehicles out on the track right now. Boy, that Ryan Hinkle number 99 paint scheme running behind Jacob Chase in the 43, that's a good-looking scheme as well. Is that a Gain paint scheme?
It is.
That's an old Jeff Burton paint scheme from the Busch series.
That's right. It was a number 9.
A couple of other drivers roasted as well.
Yeah. I remember there was a lot of hate on this paint scheme. in the early 2000s, but a lot of people thought this paint scheme was really ugly. I don't think I hate it as much as a lot of people did, and yeah, Ryan's got it up here into the 18th position. It looks like he's looking for another one here on Jacob Chase.
Yeah, that number 90 line's wound up on the top. He's got some spots. He lost a couple earlier in the race after starting 6th, but Ryan Hinkle, good run going for the 99. He did lose his Buttkicker Bracket challenge battle last week with Jacob Chase. Maybe it's a personal issue for the 99 and the 43. Pride on the line for that 99, wanting to get by Jacob Chase and kind of make good on what happened last week. Chase, one of the drivers in the Final Four of the Buttkicker Bracket Series Challenge. His competitor is Matt Kuntz, and right now, Matt Kuntz is just 2 spots back from Jacob Chase on the track, so that's a good little battle we got going on inside the top 20, and Kuntz back there in the 19th position, now just 1 spot behind Ryan Hinkle. That is a paint scheme I know my dad would love when he goes back and watches this race. He'll probably have seen it on the track at some point, but that number 13 truck is a good-looking truck as well. I believe that's a CSX chassis system paint scheme out of Virginia. Matt Kuntz, that Maryland driver, close to that kind of mid-Atlantic area, sees a lot of those trains running on the tracks.
And meanwhile, we had a change for the 3rd spot. Jonny Rapp has gotten around Dustin Scruggs, and Dustin Scruggs is under some pressure right now from Randy Bechdel. As Bechdel closes up on his rear bumper, is going to look to make the pass. And we got a battle for the lead.
Jacob Bradley head-to-head.
They almost made some contact there. Yeah, that was close between the teammates right there going into turn 3. And Justin Wilson's going to slide up, complete the passes. I thought that Jacob Bradley was going to do the crossover, but I don't think he's going to do it.
It looked like for a minute he was thinking about it. He had a little bit of speed. He had more speed coming off that corner than I thought he would in that number 50, but you mentioned it. It's the number 58 to the lead. Justin Wilson running a throwback paint scheme to his old dirt car that he used to race in Pensacola, Florida, and boy, that looks like also looks like a Days of Thunder throwback as well. So good-looking number 58 paint scheme. Seeing him up front. Right now, Justin Wilson had been in the top 5 in points, but after a couple of races absent, he's back to 12th. Kind of maybe giving up on those championship hopes, but he's not giving up on a win tonight in that 58. He's got that thing wound up on the high lane as he makes that move for the lead on lap number 51, now lap number 52 of 146, Chris. A couple of big movers to talk about. We mentioned Patrick Colby involved in an earlier crash, even took the EOL. He's climbed all the way up to the 11th position in that number 9 truck.
So, and we have green flag pit stops. Yeah, green flag pit stops. Here comes, Jonny Rapp missed pit road. He missed it. And we talked about this in the pre-race, how easy that is to do here at Darlington. He was going to try to come to pit road a little bit early, trying to gain some, gain some track position possibly. He had some pretty good speed there, but unfortunately that just cost him. He's back to the 11th spot. He was running 3rd.
Is out.
This might be. Oh, I see. James Danforth backwards into the wall in that Chick Hicks paint scheme. Oh, and he is, he's still sliding. I don't think he's very happy.
Yeah, let's see if we can find out what happened. Return to the scene of crime here for this incident with James Danforth. And you mentioned it.
Side by side into turn 1.
Not very happy.
Side by side into turn 1. And he's got, oh, yeah. Man, I'm telling you, like, I'm watching this and I'm about to have a come apart. These drivers trying to race side by side into turn 1. I'm telling you, you just cannot do it. You just got to let that guy go. And unfortunately, there's just some contact there. And man, Matt Scherf gets that number 4 Mark Martin throwback all torn up in this as well.
You know, that's a disappointing one for you, Chris Smith.
It is.
Biggest Martin fan out there. Hate to see that for, but that's never the Martin I remember. I always remember the number 6, but hey, that's probably the one he got the closest to the championship though with. So
Yep. And here's Danforth. There's another angle of it to the inside of Scherf, and you just need that room to slide up. And man, this place just requires a lot of give and take. And I think that Matt, I don't think that Matt was trying to race him there. I think he was, I think that maybe he was trying to let him go. I just don't think he let him go quick enough. And,
yeah, it looked like the 4 was out of the throttle, was kind of giving the position away. There was contact before that. And right now, drivers about to hit pit road for live pit stops, Chris. This is going to be interesting. Several drivers led by Justin Wilson getting ready to come down pit road here.
And
track position has meant a lot.
Yeah, and Justin Wilson's going to win the race off pit road. It has meant a lot. It is super, super important to maintain that track position because you saw what happened to our points leader the moment that he did get back in traffic.
Yeah, watching the battle off of pit road here, it is going to shake things up a little bit. Justin Wilson's your leader. Jacob Bradley comes out second. Randy Bechdel third. Dustin Scruggs fourth. I'm looking at my timing screen now. I believe the 4 and the 2 had not come down pit road yet, Chris, so I think that was throwing the timing off a little bit. Matt Scherf involved in the incident earlier. Dan Berg. I know we got some Dan Berg fans in the chat. He did have a lead lap run going right now. Going to give that up coming down pit road here. Second time by. And we are lap 56 of 146 in the books. I believe we've had 4 cautions on the evening. The 4th one coming out just a couple of laps ago on lap 54. James Danforth and Matt Scherf, the 2 cars involved in that incident. Hey, we've shown you several paint schemes tonight that are throwback schemes. We're going to cover a couple of more here over the next part of the race, but we're going to be voting. We're going to give fans the opportunity to vote on what paint scheme is their favorite. All you've got to do is click the link now appearing in the YouTube chat to go vote for your favorite paint scheme, your favorite driver. Winner at the end of the evening, the winning driver, I should say, is going to win a Jeff Gordon throwback paint scheme diecast. So help your favorite driver out. Let us know what your favorite scheme is on the track tonight. That link is in the chat. I'm going to try to potentially bookmark that. Give me just a second.
And
It'll also be pinned at the top of the channel.
While Ellis does that, want to bring a quick mention to Aaron Smith. Aaron Smith is going to take I think he's going to take a wave around here. Yeah, he should go by right now. Aaron is now 1 lap down, looking to gain some track position here as he comes back to the rear of the field.
Yeah, and Chris, looking at the championship implications of the situation with the 70, he's going to be getting a lap back, but he's going to be back in 21st position. That's right now an 18 place or even more than 18-point swing on Randy Bechdel in Bechdel's favor. So we could see at this point the points lead get down to 20 points or so, 25 points before the end of the evening if Randy Bechdel kind of continues on to have a perfect night. So we'll be keeping an eye on that number 51. Also, 50 of Jacob Bradley has the opportunity to capitalize on Aaron Smith's misfortune. Both of those drivers sitting in the top 4 right now. Justin Wilson continues to lead as we buckle up for a restart here. Coming to lap number 58 of 146. Wilson's going to be your leader. Jacob Bradley second. Pace car peels off. Bechdel and Scruggs in tow. It's going to be on Wilson to mash that throttle to get us going again. He's going to wait till he gets into the blue Geico restart zone. And he goes pretty early on. We've seen several drivers make use of that early restart to get a jump. 58, Justin Wilson's going to go down into turn 1. Only car in line there. He's a clear leader. Jacob Bradley second. Randy Bechdel is going to be third. Scott Tompkins mixing it up back there, Chris. I believe he almost got into the front end of Rye Jones there off the corner. We got some close calls back here for the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th position. This is some great racing going on. Dustin Scruggs kind of leading that pack with Josh Ward, who's made a climb back up to the 5th position, chasing down that 4th position right now. That number 92 truck looking pretty good, Chris.
It is. Yeah, we saw Scott Tompkins. I think they had a change of position, and Scott was trying to, do the crossover on him. Unfortunately, couldn't do that. I know Scott this week really just wants to have a clean race. A really clean week would be. Oh, and I think that we actually, I think he actually had a little bit of a connection drop right there. But
yeah, I'm seeing that on my end as well.
Yeah, that's why our camera shot went away like that. But
Chris,
no.
Justin Wilson and Jacob Bradley, not to draw attention away from this, but they are going at it down the front straightaway for the lead. Jacob Bradley retakes the lead, but it was not without some contact, Chris. I'm just wondering if there's any tension in that Payday Racing kind of team stable right now. I know that the past couple of weeks they've had some conversations that have been difficult, but right now seeing those 2 drivers racing really the hardest we've seen them race each other all season.
Yeah, they were, we missed it right there, but we saw them race side by side earlier, and it looked like there was some contact then as well. So at least on our end, but yeah, we'll have to watch this over the course of the race. And we saw Jacob Bradley get out to a pretty substantial, I shouldn't say substantial, but a comfortable lead on that first stint before Justin Wilson reeled him in. We'll see how this transpires on this run right here. We'll see, we can watch Justin Wilson right there. He's in the tire tracks of Jacob Bradley. Both those guys wanting to run down low, it looks like, down in 3 and 4. Of course, they run their standard, the fast line down here in 1 and 2. This gives you a sense, an idea. You really get a chance to look at that left front fender and sort of see just how close it is planted to that dash line and the separation between the banking and the flat. And a little bit different approach right there. I can see right there. It looks like Jacob Bradley is trying to wrap. It looks like a little bit longer on the bottom before he picks up the throttle.
He's racing like you. You like to stay down at the bottom of the track, and that seems to be the place to be right now. Lots of speed in those top 2 cars, Chris. Hey, just want to throw this out. If my mic's cutting in and out, or sound's cutting out, I apologize. I'm having some mic and headset issues, but we're trying to do our best to work through it right now. Lap number 63 of 146. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined in the booth by Chris Smith. Race number 14 of 15 for the Apex Energy Truck Series, presented by Hank Thomas Performance. Bradley is your leader. Justin Wilson second, Randy Bechdel third, Dustin Scruggs is fourth. Meanwhile, Josh Ward sits fifth in that number 92. And Chris, I don't think we've talked about that M&M's machine sitting in fifth place doing battle right now with Scott Tompkins, but last time I saw that paint scheme on a vehicle, I think it was airborne, and I saw the undercarriage of the car at Talladega.
Yeah, this is the exact paint scheme that Elliott Sadler ran when he did have that big tumble at Talladega that most race fans have seen by now. And fun fact: the next year, I don't remember the year specific. I think it was like maybe 03, 04, somewhere around in there when it happened. But the next year after that spectacular flip, he flipped again at Talladega, coming across the line.
Oh yeah, see, I didn't even remember that.
Yeah, like
Good
the odds of doing that back-to-back years. Now that second one I remember, that was nothing compared to that first one. That first one, man, he started tumbling, and I didn't think he was ever going to stop.
Yeah, I think that's more air than I've ever seen a car catch. Just how high the vertical on that thing was when it initially went airborne. Don also met Elliott Sadler. Not that nice of a guy to fans.
Oh no.
Hey, good to know. Good to know the guys who we can approach for autographs.
That's right.
And those that we can't. Kenny Schrader, obviously a fan favorite. Don's met him as well. Hey, if you're in the chat like Don and our other fans, we posted the link to vote for your favorite paint scheme of the night. It should be pinned at the top of the chat, so just scroll all the way to the top and you can find it there. Vote for your favorite driver, for your favorite paint scheme that you have seen tonight. One of the trucks I'm watching, Chris, closely, Dan Berg right now doing battle in 16th with Evan Pienta. This is a good little battle going on between the 2 and the 55. I know we've got some Dan Berg fans in the chat right now. Let us know if you're one of those. He's on the top, Chris. We mentioned it. They're going to be going down into turn number 1 here. I thought Evan Pienta might be side by side with him. We're not going to have to worry about that at least this lap, but close little battle. Dan Berg trying to hold on to the 17th position from Evan Pienta. Oh, Berg in the wall. Pienta almost into his quarter panel. How did we avoid an incident there? That was incredibly close.
It was.
Commentators first. I hate to say it, but strikes again.
Never fails, right? Oh, we see Scottie Sobczak. He's on the track. I don't think that we had given an update on him. But yeah,
Three laps out of it.
He's 3 laps down. He's out here, trying to log some laps, collect some points, maybe if some people fall back. We're going to go back up here to the battle for... This got really tight earlier between Scott Tompkins. Rye Jones is up on his rear bumper. He's kind of falling back a little bit as Tompkins closes up on the rear bumper of Josh Ward. And Ward on the rear bumper of Scruggs. Scruggs right behind Bechdel. Bechdel behind Wilson. It's really tight here from about 2nd to 7th.
Lots of tight racing going on right now. We mentioned this battle going up. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, all on top of each other right now. Incredibly hard racing. And we mentioned it, Mr. Excitement, Scott Tompkins back there in the 6th position, Chris. These leaders are closing up on Justin Wilson for 2nd.
They are, and back behind these guys is about to become the 8th place driver is about to, insert himself into this picture as well. Jonny Rapp, unfortunately, had that miscue, trying to get to pit road earlier, and he is to make up that ground. I think he's got a really fast truck tonight. I think that he's got some good speed, and if this thing goes green, he might be able to make up some ground as Rye Jones looking to the outside of Scott Tompkins, and he's going to get position here. I don't know if he's going to be able to complete the pass, though. Side by side into turn 1.
Oh, he lets off the throttle a little bit.
That's smart. That's smart right there. That's a smart move. Dustin Scruggs was in front of these guys, and he just pulled over and let everybody go.
Yeah, it's. I think Dustin. I noticed he asked a question in the chat before the race. He said, "Is there an indicator for playoff drivers and chase drivers?" And the answer was yes. They have a white banner on their truck, and I think he probably found himself in the midst of a lot of chase drivers and was a courteous competitor, Chris, and just kind of backed out of that situation. And that's the kind of sportsmanship and respect we look forward to every single week out of these drivers, and that they've come to expect from each other. So just kind of evidence there by Dustin Scruggs getting off the throttle and kind of bowing out of that battle with a lot of chase drivers. So good kudos to the driver of the number 11. He's still got a good run going on in the 8th position. We're on lap number 73 of 146. Some of the tightest battles going on the track right now, Chris. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. There goes Josh Ward to the inside of Randy Bechdel. Too wide. Down in the
they make some contact.
Almost loses the truck, but he's going to cede the position over to that M&M's machine. Candyman Josh Ward gets by, but Bechdel gains a lot of momentum off the corner. He might try to get him back and go down into 1. Maybe show a little bit of displeasure with Ward for taking him too wide into the corner, but they are neck and neck. Oh, boy. Bechdel almost gets in the back of the number 92. That's like net code margins right there, Chris. That could have gone wrong in a heartbeat as we watch Randy Bechdel really force the issue with the 92. Close, tight racing, and a good battle going on between Tompkins and Jones right behind them, Chris. Not a lot of room on this racetrack. We mentioned it all night long as we ride on back end of that number 92. He's got a mirror full of the 51 of Randy Bechdel in that bright yellow machine. The battle of the yellow trucks here right now for 3rd position. Randy Bechdel trying to get back to 3rd, but Josh Ward had other ideas after taking it a couple of laps earlier on lap number 74, 75. Chris, I'm impressed with that ground that the number 92 has made up. He is looking like he's got one of the fastest trucks on the track, and based on times, Chris, that number 92 last time by was the fastest truck on the track.
Yeah, we'll actually watch right here. We'll put the battle forecasts. These are race insights powered by Pierce Graphics. And we will watch the gap right here on this lap right here to see if Josh Ward gains. And yeah, another that was actually a bigger chunk that time. Gained about 7/100ths on Justin Wilson. Here we are about 22 laps into the life of these tires on this stint. And yeah, he's got some pretty good pace at this point. So clearly Josh Ward was not abusing those tires early. I'll be curious to see like if the pace will be able to maintain where it is right here, because I think that we'll see these drivers go until at least around possibly close to lap 100 if this thing goes green.
Yeah, I suspect you are right. About 22 laps or so left on these tires and in the fuel tank. We talked about drivers trying to split the race really into 3 segments, coming twice to stop for tires, and looking like a lot of drivers going to be sticking with that strategy. But you continue to see Ward close in a little bit. But I'm surprised the 51 has continued to hang with him like he has. Obviously, Ward forced the issue down in the corner, but Randy Bechdel not letting go of the back bumper of that number 92. You can see both drivers kind of close in towards the wall, doing a little bit of dance with danger there. As looks like Josh Ward might have even gotten a piece of the wall off of turn 2. He's going to get a piece of Randy Bechdel if he's not careful. Both drivers head down into turn number 3. We mentioned a little bit different line choice between Randy Bechdel and Josh Ward. Bechdel taking kind of a little bit half a lane down, while Josh Ward getting a little bit closer to the wall. What's the benefit of Josh Ward getting a little bit closer to the wall off of turn 4, Chris?
Well, I guess it just depends on what your truck is doing. If you are running up on that high lane, obviously you can get you can make the straightaway a little bit longer. We're going to watch them down here on this end. Yeah, he's up the track a little bit more. Looks like a lot of people are up the track now a little bit more. Randy Bechdel, though, he is peeking to the inside. That truck is turning really well, I think, at this point of the run. You can really see him rotate through 3 and 4 well, but he doesn't quite have the run right there. Josh Ward running that top, like you mentioned, Ellis, and it kind of lets him maintain that position. And I don't think that we'll see Randy, especially on a night right here where he's having a great points night, I don't think we're going to see him force the issue. I think Randy's really hoping this thing goes green to the end. Because if it does, I think that's right in his wheelhouse.
Definitely right in his wheelhouse. We've seen him kind of capitalize on long runs over the course of the race. Right now, really challenging Josh Ward for the third position here. Both of these drivers running behind race leader Jacob Bradley, who is a good probably 1.5 seconds up on Justin Wilson. Car lengths, that's probably 20 car lengths back. Justin Wilson is from the leader, Jacob Bradley. Josh Ward third, Randy Bechdel fourth, Scott Tompkins in that fray, Chris. He's kind of caught up. I believe that battle between the 92 and the 51 has caught up the 25, the number 91, as well as the number 52 of Jonny Rapp back in 7th. So kind of brought 4 or 5 cars into this battle. Meanwhile, Wesley Pistole is 8th, Patrick Colby is 9th, Dustin Scruggs has fallen back to 10th. Chris, I saw another great move by Scruggs to kind of lift off the throttle and let a couple of drivers he knew were faster by. We talk about this every week. You've got to race the track before you race other drivers. I think we've seen a couple of drivers kind of get caught in the moment of racing each other down in the corner. Dustin Scruggs not doing that. Yeah, you mentioned battle for third going on right now between Josh Ward and Randy Bechdel. They head down into one. Bechdel on the inside, Josh Ward to the outside. They got to be careful.
Yeah, that's not a lot of give and take right there as
Bechdel really loose off the corner.
Yeah, and unfortunately, so Scott Tompkins is going to look to the inside of Randy Bechdel. I don't think he's going to be able to get there. I think Randy Bechdel's truck is, he was really pacing himself there before, and I think it's really come alive right here. And yes, I think it's going to be hard for Randy Bechdel to complete that pass into 1. I think he really has to he's got to send him up here. I think he's got to get through 1 and 2, get a run off of 2, and then maybe get to the inside of him going into turn 3. But I think that Josh Ward is faster down in 1 and 2 than he is down in 3 and 4. I think that Bechdel is a lot faster down here on this end of the track than Ward.
Definitely a lot faster on that end of the track than Ward. Kind of equally matched over the course of the entire racetrack here at Darlington. Lap 85 of 146. We are clear of the halfway mark. Watching Aaron Smith, Chris, he's had a tough go at it, sitting right now 20th. First, he's coming off a pit road. Leaders coming by him to put him down. A couple other laps, 7 laps down on the night for championship points leader Aaron Smith. Really struggling back there after an early race incident caused him to incur a good bit of damage. Looking further through the field, we got this close battle going on for the 3rd position. Give me just 1 second. I think my mouse might have just died.
And that battle for
charge it real quick, but go ahead.
Yeah, that battle for 3rd still going on between Ward and Bechdel. These drivers still nose to tail. Bechdel looking to get around Ward. And back behind these guys, you still got Scott Tompkins keeping them within distance with Rye Jones and Jonny Rapp. And going to give a quick call to a driver a few car links back, or a few truck links back, I should say. And that is Chase Berry. We haven't mentioned his paint scheme tonight at all. But NASCAR fans, especially if you've been watching NASCAR for a long time like Ellis and I have, will recognize that paint scheme right there as Chad Little's John Deere throwback on that number 46 Toyota. So Chase Berry has got that one up into the 11th position, and this was always a popular paint scheme amongst NASCAR fans.
It was a great paint scheme. That green and yellow, just iconic John Deere colors. That is a great looking scheme, and you can go vote. If you have not voted for your favorite paint scheme of the race yet, there's a link pinned at the top of the YouTube chat right now. You can vote for your favorite driver, favorite paint scheme. Subscribe to the channel while you're at it. Like the video if you haven't already done so. Chris, other driver, what was the other driver who raced that at least for, I believe, a partial season? And I think it was in 2000 maybe in the number 97?
That would be Kurt Busch.
Yeah, Kurt Busch. not used to seeing Kurt Busch in the John Deere colors.
Yeah.
I think that was young Kurt Busch.
That was very young Kurt
The
Busch.
much better version of Kurt Busch that we have today. I think most people would probably agree on that. But Chase Berry, he's an aggressive driver coming up on here, and Dustin Scruggs looking to see if he can make the move down the Boeing backstretch down into turn number 3. Looked like Berry had a bit of momentum going. You can see he's running a little bit lower down in turn 3 and 4, while Dustin Scruggs runs up at the top of the track, a little bit loose off the corner for the 11. Meanwhile, the 46 of Chase Berry, he's going to close right in. He tries to get a look down to the inside of the number 11. Nothing going because Dustin Scruggs also chasing down the number 94 of Wesley Pistole down into turn number 2. Now onto the backstretch, about a car length between each of these drivers. Chase Berry continues to gain a little bit of momentum off of each corner, but he can't quite get up to the back bumper of the number 11. That might change this time by, though. He gets his nose underneath them for a moment. He's going to have to wait at least another corner unless he wants to force the issue down here into 1, and I think we all can agree we would prefer that Chase wait at least another lap as he chases down that number 11 of Dustin Scruggs. Wesley Pistole a little bit loose in front of them. Scruggs irons up to the back bumper of that number 94 with the 46 in tow. Chris, we're going to see, I feel like we're going to see a pass here any lap. Talk about, we mentioned it in pre-race, kind of at the beginning of the race, but it's difficult to set drivers up for passes. You had mentioned that you liked, the number 11 into the wall there.
Yeah.
Chase Berry might not really have to set this pass up as he ducks to the inside. Is Scruggs going to force the issue? He's going to ride high into the corner. Almost contact. There's the 11 into the wall. The 46 goes to the inside. Chase Berry moves up to the 10th position. Meanwhile, Dustin Scruggs back to 11th. Heavy contact with the wall in the number 11 there, Chris. That was the danger. We mentioned it. If you go double file, too wide into that corner, someone's going to pay the price, if not both trucks.
Yeah, that's super unfortunate right there for Dustin Scruggs. I think he just got in the gas a little bit too early, a little bit too quickly. You know, we saw him let these guys go. He let Wesley Pistole go, and I was about to remark upon, you know, I thought that he was putting together some good laps and was kind of closing in there, but yeah, unfortunately, he just got in the gas a little bit too soon right there in 3 and 4, a little bit eager to get to the right rear of that 94, and unfortunately tagged the wall. We're going to go back up here very quickly while this is kind of evened out just a little bit, give you a quick update on this battle for third that was so intense earlier. It's kind of cooled down just a little bit as Josh Ward has gotten after it and has pulled away from Randy Bechdel. So I was a little bit too soon to speak. I thought that Bechdel maybe had been saving his tires a little bit, but Josh Ward showing his prowess right here, and see if he can set his sights on Justin Wilson and Jacob Bradley in front of him maybe.
Yeah, they're coming up on that lap 100 mark in just a few laps. Don in the chat says Chad Little was fired. That's why Kurt Busch took over the car. Don, do you know what he was fired for, Chris?
I think he was just fired for lack of performance. I remember that last season that he was in that car. It was a real struggle, and everybody kind of had their thoughts about, like, I remember, like, I was a very young NASCAR fan at that time, but I can remember they had Kurt Busch and they had Greg Biffle in the Truck Series at the time, and I think everybody assumed that it was going to be Biffle making the jump up into the Cup car, but they went with Kurt Busch instead, and I think it worked out all right for them.
I think it definitely worked all right for the 97. Oh, Evan Pienta coming down pit road loose. I think we're getting to that point. You mentioned lap 100, Chris, is the lap we thought we would start to see a lot of drivers come down pit road. Evan Pienta going to be one of the first takers. Jonny Rapp also making the slow roll down pit road. I think he's going to make it this time, Chris, after missing it on his first green flag pit attempt about 40 laps or so ago. 43 laps ago is when that happened. Green flag pit stops are underway here, lap number 98. Is there an advantage to be gained from coming in early and kind of undercutting the rest of the field? Can you pick up any positions in track position this way if you're drivers like Jonny Rapp and Evan Pienta? What are they thinking?
They're thinking they want to gain some track position, just like this guy who's on his way to pit road right now, Jacob Bradley, your race leader. He is making his way to pit road. Jacob Bradley saw that 58 truck getting bigger and bigger in his rearview mirror, and he said, I'm going to come into pit road before he makes this pass. And so he's going to look to open up a little bit of ground possibly on Justin Wilson here as he has gone, let's see, Jacob Bradley has gone 44 laps, Got about, 48 to go here in the race, so got to go about the same distance to close it up. I mean, and that's if we don't have any cautions. So actually a little bit further, considering that we had cautions, at the beginning of the caution laps at the beginning of the stint. So we'll see what time of ground Jacob Bradley can maybe gain on Justin Wilson. Don't know how long Justin Wilson's going to stay out. Maybe another lap or two. You brought up Rye Jones. You brought up Jonny Rapp as well, making their pit stops. These guys are just looking to, maybe gain a little bit of track position, get a little bit closer to like where Josh Ward is and Randy Bechdel is, and maybe even be able to get around those guys.
Yeah, we're coming to the final 46 laps. This race has had 4 cautions over the course of it, but it's moved at a fairly rapid race, Chris. We're just over an hour into this race, and we're nearly 2/3 done with it. So moving at a pretty breakneck pace, even for a 200-lap race. Final portion of the race coming up. Drivers looking like this is going to be the final time they hit pit road. So this, if it goes green, this is the money stop, and you're going to have what you brought at this point. Justin Wilson inherited the lead from Jacob Bradley on that pit stop. He is first. Josh Ward, meanwhile, second, about 2 seconds behind. Randy Bechdel third. Scott Tompkins fourth. Patrick Colby in the top 5, but he's got a lot of cars he's racing behind him right now. I believe he's got some cars that are on fresh tires coming up behind him.
And you can
That's
see
Matt
that
Kuhn, Chris Pierce, Evan Pienta, a couple of cars a lap down, I believe.
you can see the difference in speed. These guys coming. Here comes Evan Pienta. He is charging up the inside right here, trying to get around Chris Pierce, looking to get around Matt Kuntz, and closing right up on the rear bumper of Patrick Colby. Oh man, I feel nervous right here for Patrick Colby as Pienta's not going to lift. He's going to charge right here into this corner underneath. Oh, actually he does. That was smart from Evan right there.
Yeah, and that's, again, we've kind of harped on this all night, just being smart, setting up those passes, not going into a corner too wide when you don't have to. You can pass at this track, but you got to be smart about it as we watch several drivers. And Chris, one of those drivers in traffic right now, right behind them, Jacob Bradley, who was your leader. The 50 is caught in this pack. He has to make evasive action down below the number 65 and number 9, and boy, those were some tense moments for the race leader, or what will become back eventually the race leader before he pitted, the number 50 of Jacob Bradley. That was an intense ride on board with that number 50 for a moment. I think we all, including Bradley, might need a moment to hold our breaths after that. But you mentioned the difference in speed for drivers on fresh tires right now presents a real serious threat and danger, because if you get carried away and you find yourself closing in on a truck too quickly, you could have, could be caught between a rock and a hard place watching Scott Tompkins come off of pit road. Several drivers making their exit off of pit road. We see Nick DeCesare, a.k.a. Buckshot Jones, come down pit road right now. Ryan Hinkle coming down pit road. And you mentioned it, Chris, a lot of these cars on varying tire strategies right now. We've got several cars who have stayed out. Justin Wilson, Randy Bechdel, Josh Ward. And you see him get passed by some of those cars on fresh tires. Patrick Colby, Lee Campbell, Ryan Hinkle are the cars that have stayed out. I believe Matt Kuntz and Scottie Sobczak have also stayed out on their tires, but they are several laps down at this point. So
Josh
right now,
Ward,
about 5 cars on fresh tires.
Josh Ward has lost a spot to Randy Bechdel when we were watching that intense traffic we saw earlier. Josh Ward has slowed down significantly here, and I see some paint on the right side that's been scrubbed off. I don't know if something occurred, if he got into the wall a little bit, but Josh Ward, that's a significant development right there. Losing the spot to Randy Bechdel, losing some speed there at the end of that stint, and like I said, I don't know what the loss of speed was, if he had a moment and some damage occurred, or what happened, but he's coming to pit road here early. Maybe he can get that spot back around Randy Bechdel.
Yeah, I think he was eager to see pit road and come and get some new Goodyear tires for the final 40 laps of this race. Justin Wilson still your leader. Randy Bechdel, you mentioned, moved into second position. Randy Bechdel, Chris, he is not running as fast as Justin Wilson. Wilson's clicking off some of the fastest lap times of the entire race so far at this juncture on these tires. So that number 58 is wound up, so to speak. Patrick Colby, recovery of the race, Chris, sitting in third position right now, and much of that's on his own merit. Had been running in the top 10 after getting involved in an early crash and being forced to make a restart at the tail end of the field. Colby up into third, and that's a good-looking paint scheme. I think that's a throwback to Rusty Wallace in that number 2 Miller Genuine draft truck, but obviously the number 9 for Patrick Colby. So what was that? Was that probably mid-90s, early 90s?
It was, and we got Justin Wilson on pit road right here, our race leader, making his pit stop. And yeah, that paint scheme of Patrick Colby that he's running, that was Rusty Wallace's early to mid-90s Miller Genuine Draft paint scheme right here. Saw it on a Pontiac for a couple years before Penske switched to the Ford, and always a good-looking ride, iconic ride.
A very iconic ride. Patrick Colby inherits the lead as we watch
Randy Bechdel on pit road.
Oh, Colby on the wall a little bit there. He's definitely feeling these 55-lap old tires for sure at this point, Chris.
Yeah, and I see some damage also. I mean, we got so many trucks with damage here. I don't know when it happened, but Randy Bechdel's got some damage as well. I wonder if there was some type of contact maybe between Bechdel and Ward. I don't want to speculate because we just didn't see it, with everything going on.
Look for you real quick, see if I can grab a quick
It was
glance, see last time they were on the track together.
I just don't know when it happened or what happened there, but wonder what resulted in that change of position and the damage that we see on those trucks.
That was an intense battle. I don't know if anyone got in the wall, but Randy Bechdel shot the hole right between Scottie Sobczak and Josh Ward on lap number 102, taking it 3 wide down the backstretch. And I believe they went 3 wide, almost 4 wide into the corner, but they took it 3 wide down into turn number 1. So quite an intense battle there on 102. I think that might have been what put Josh Ward into the wall. Randy Bechdel might have had contact a little bit later. So Lee Campbell, one of the few cars that had not seen pit road yet, Chris, he comes down pit road. Really the only truck we're waiting for is Patrick Colby. And if you're Colby, are you hoping there is a caution at some point?
Yes, definitely. You definitely want that caution. You would trap a lot of people a lap down here. And I think that you would also put a lot of people into a really difficult spot. Drivers like, Jacob Bradley, who came to pit road, 14 laps ago. If the caution did come out and Patrick Colby is going to be a move. Oh, is Patrick Colby sideways on pit road? Did he get it woe down in time? Hopefully he.
That was close.
Yeah, hopefully he did. But this is all going to be a moot point now, as that's going to put the lead firmly in the hands of the driver of the number 50, Jacob Bradley. Now Jacob has a little bit more laps on his tires than some of his counterparts. The question is, do those guys have enough time to get and enough tire, enough speed to get through the traffic and get up back to Jacob Bradley? I'm specifically thinking about Justin Wilson and Josh Ward, who have about 10 lap fresher tires. Randy Bechdel has about 12 lap fresher tires than Jacob Bradley.
Yeah, and these guys are sitting back in what? Wilson's in 8th, Randy Bechdel's in 12th. So we've got about 31 laps remaining here in the UD Awards Southern 200. We've got quite the storyline developing. Jacob Bradley, you mentioned it, came down to pit road about 16 laps ago to get fresh tires. You've got several other competitors who came a lot later, including Dustin Scruggs, Chase Berry, Jonny Rapp, Wesley Pistole, Scott Tompkins, who are all trying to run down the leader of Jacob Bradley, Rye Jones. You mentioned Justin Wilson, Josh Ward, Randy Bechdel. Lots of drivers right now, Chris, trying to chase down the 50. And I might have a scoring error. You let me know if this is correct. I've got Jacob Bradley first, Dustin Scruggs in second. Is that out of order?
No, that would be correct.
Okay. How did the 11 get up to second place? Did he take 2 tires or something?
No, he took 4, but he did come to pit road. He wasn't too far back behind, Jonny Rapp and Chase Berry and those guys. Yeah. And he came to pit road about the same time as they did. So looks like a lap before Rapp. Around the same lap as Berry, so a really good pit stop, and it looks like he got down the pit lane, so he got onto pit road, off of pit road really well.
Yeah, and that again, these green flag pit stops, these are the test of some skills, right? Anyone can pit under caution where everyone's going the same speed. It's very controlled, but trying to make as much speed and ground on pit road and not make a mistake is very, very difficult. And you saw Dustin Scruggs really do that masterfully there on that last pit stop. Right around lap number 97 or so. So that put him in second place. Jonny Rapp, Chris, we mentioned it. He's got a fast truck as well. He's running lap times comparable to Jacob Bradley. If you're Jacob Bradley, how easy are you taking it here on these tires? Are you kind of trying to get away from these guys? Are you recognizing the fact that they very well might reel you in, so you want to have something left at the end of the race? What do you think Bradley's thinking here as the leader with just about 27 laps to go?
I think that you do have to take it easy. I think you do have to pace yourself, especially, considering, he did come to pit road a little bit earlier than maybe some people that he feels like he might possibly be racing for the win. So it's probably a good idea to, you don't want to say too much because you don't want to give up too much ground. I'd say maintaining the gap, a comfortable gap is probably the priority, probably the goal, without full throttling it. And Jacob's smart. He's been doing this for a while, so he knows. And I think that's probably the goal right now, is to just maintain the gap while looking after those tires. As while we were talking right there, Scott Tompkins completed the pass on Chase Berry to move up into the 4th spot. Tompkins got his eye set on the 52 of Rapp just in front of him.
Yeah, and Chris, that 25 truck, that No Bull Mr. Excitement throwback scheme was the fastest truck on the track that last time by a good bit. He was about 3.5 tenths of a second faster. Chris, that time by, he was half a second faster than Jacob Bradley. That 25 truck is on a mission as he chases down the Mission Barbecue throwback truck of Jonny Rapp, the 52 right in front of him. That truck is fast, Chris. That number 25 looks like he's been shot out of a cannon. Scott Tompkins there quickly going to try to make quick work of the number 52 of Jonny Rapp as he tries to work that inside line. Down the front stretch they go. Scott Tompkins is a man on a mission, going for 3rd position now. He is closing the gap. He continues to be about 4 tenths a second faster than the leader, Chris. That 25 truck, he can't be too patient with that 52 truck right in front of him, Chris. He's got to get by, and he looks to take it down into 3, side by side. The 25 takes 3rd position. That's your fastest truck on the track right now. Scott Tompkins in 3rd. He's going to set his sights on the number 11 of Dustin Scruggs, who's about 2 seconds in front of him, and then it's off to the races with Jacob Bradley, who's about 5.5 seconds up there. So they've got some work cut out for them if they're going to get up to the leader of Jacob Bradley, but they've got much fresher tires, Chris. Actually, I should say Scott Tompkins is about 4 laps fresher than Jacob Bradley.
Yeah, and it's not significant enough if this thing goes green for him to be able to charge up there and win the race at all. But I feel like Scott's sitting in a really nice spot here because, the drivers that he's racing against up here, Dustin Scruggs, he's got, 6 lap fresher tires. He's got about, looks like he's got about almost the same on Jonny Rapp as well. I think the only competition that he really has to worry about is that 58 charging behind him right there, Justin Wilson. Wilson is closing in really fast. Wilson's got about 6 lap fresher tires on his truck.
5 tenths of a second faster, half a second a lap faster that last time by, Chris.
Yeah, he's definitely closing in, and I think that Justin Wilson is going to... Wilson right there was slower than Tompkins, but I think he was also completing the pass on Jonny Rapp, so we'll have to see what type of ground Justin Wilson can specifically make up on our race leader. I think this is the race for the win right here. It's between the 50 and the 58. And we'll just have to keep an eye on it. That's a good looking truck right there for Justin Wilson. I'll be honest with you, I'm not too sure about those purple wheels on the truck.
I think you forgot to reset them.
I think so too. Yeah, but it's a good looking truck nonetheless. And that time right there, 3 tenths quicker, just about 3 tenths quicker than Scott Tompkins. So can he get through these? Can he get through this traffic quickly enough to be able to, have some clean racetrack to be able to chase down possibly Jacob Bradley? I think it's going to be tough. I really do.
And meanwhile, kind of one of the drivers we had our eyes on at the halfway point of the race, one of the fastest trucks on the track, Randy Bechdel, Chris, he's mired back in 11th position. He's just really not been able to make up the ground that his Payday Racing teammate Justin Wilson has. And he's getting aggressive with it, ducking underneath Dustin Scruggs. And I believe, sorry, that's Justin Wilson we were watching there, making the pass on Dustin Scruggs for 3rd position. But yeah, Randy Bechdel, he's been struggling to make his way through the field after this final pit stop, Chris.
Yeah,
so
and he,
really one of the biggest losers, I think, on this final segment of the race.
Yeah, and he had I don't know what happened on pit road. He was a little bit longer in the box, and he had it looks like the pit lane time was, and that probably indicates maybe he slid through the box or wasn't lined up perfectly in the box. Don't want to speculate, like I said before, because we didn't have eyes on it at the time, but yeah, had a little bit of a difficult time on pit road, so he lost, probably about 7 seconds to his counterparts on pit road, 8 seconds maybe to them.
Yeah. And that's major championship implications as well, because he was the driver we were looking at with Aaron Smith running uncharacteristically 21st after an early race incident. That was an opportunity for Randy to maybe close 25 points up, maybe be about 18 points out within striking distance from the championship lead head into next week's finale at Charlotte. So major championship implications with that slow pit stop.
Yeah, and don't know what just occurred. It says race winner Jacob Bradley we had like a scoring glitch happen just then on that lap. I don't know how or what happened there, but
we do not have a race winner yet. We've got about 17 laps left, so I can't get
it to reset. I'm trying my best to get it to reset. See if we can maybe change this up here and maybe see if we can get that squared away. I'm assuming we still got some time left here in the server, Ellis.
Oh yeah, we do have time. We've got the race is not over. This was a 2 hour and 50-minute session for the race, so we got plenty of time left. It's some sort of issue with the data delivery right now. About 15 laps left in this race. People are going to start thinking we're rigged with now that it says Jacob Bradley's the race winner, Chris. But I'm watching the timing. Justin Wilson is about still 0.4 of a second faster. He's closing that gap ever so slightly, Chris. I'm curious if we can pull up the battle box right now to see what we're looking like, if we've got a prediction powered by Pierce Graphics to figure out if and when this number 58 might very well catch the driver, the number 50, who's currently the leader, not the race winner, as the ticker is indicating right now. 13 laps, Chris, caution is out. It's not going to matter. Evan Pienta looks to have drawn the caution on lap 135. An incident between him and Jonny Rapp going into the corner. Chris, Pienta did the same thing he did earlier. He got into that wall and just could not hang on to it. Once you hit that wall, the car takes on a mind of its own down the backstretch. Pienta turns it around in the racing groove, and it's not going to matter. This is going to be interesting, Chris. Drivers, 34 laps on Jacob Bradley's tires, 30 laps on Scott Tompkins, just 24 laps on Justin Wilson. If you're Jacob Bradley, you've got the hardest decision to make right now, whether or not you come down pit road, because you're going to dictate what everyone else does.
Yeah, that's right. And we see the spin right here from Evan Pienta. Luckily, I think everybody's going to get around him just fine without any type of contact. And yeah, these drivers are on their way to down pit lane right here. You have to come. There's no way that you can stay out here at Darlington. So luckily, I think that the lap traffic that was between them is going to give Jacob Bradley a pretty good margin here on pit road. He's got a pretty good gap over Justin Wilson. Wilson several truck lengths back because of the lap trucks between them. And if you're Jacob Bradley, just got to hit your marks here. And it looks like he did a really nice job getting into his stall.
Yeah, hit his marks perfectly, didn't slide into the stall. He's going to come to the attention of his crew. He's going to get out. It looks like pretty cleanly here. He's going to be, although, did Chase Berry, Chris? Chase Berry took no tires or probably 2 tires here. Gamble for Chase Berry, who takes 2 tires on that pit stop. Patrick Colby stayed out, so Jacob Bradley's going to have to deal with a couple of cars here in the row in front of him on this restart. One, Chris, with 20-lap old tires. Chase Berry with right side tires only. Big gamble, big roll of the dice here for the driver of the number 46.
Yeah, it is. And, yeah, unfortunately, we're having a little bit of a scoring glitch right here. So ATVO thinks that Jacob Bradley is the race winner. He is not the race winner. Just to clear that up.
Not correctly.
Yeah.
I think
we'll see if
it's just locked in that position.
We'll see if it updates as they come across the line right here. I don't think it is, so I think that maybe we'll... Okay, there it goes. It did update, so it does put Patrick Colby as the leader. He is not the winner. He is just the current race leader. Chase Berry coming off pit road second right here, and I might have to do an ATVO restart, Ellis.
Yeah, that is absolutely fine. Let's go ahead and take a moment to hear from our partners at Buttkicker. We'll be back right on the other end of this break.
Haptics is everything from the rumble in your game controller to the vibration from your text notification. Essentially, it's a sense of touch mediated by technology. In our increasingly digital world, there's a divide between the technology we use and how we're used to interacting with the world. Haptics bridges this divide by introducing feedback through your sense of touch. This allows your brain to connect with what it's seeing on a screen or in a game. Buttkicker is a pioneer in haptic technology. For over 20 years, Buttkicker hardware has helped cinemas, musicians, and gamers immerse themselves in their medium and drastically increase their experiences. Not only does it increase immersion, but for things like sim racing, it can actually help you drive better by introducing real-time, accurate feedback. To learn more about Buttkicker haptics, head over to thebuttkicker.com.
All right, back here live in Darlington, getting ready for a Saturday night style shootout with just about 10 laps remaining. Patrick Colby and Chase Berry both took gambling pit strategies. Patrick Colby staying out on 20-lap old tires. Chase Berry came down pit road with the rest of the leaders to take right side tires. They are currently your front row. Justin Wilson and Jacob Bradley, kind of the fastest cars at the end of that run right before the caution. They're going to be on the second row. Bradley on the inside in that number 50. Justin Wilson on the outside in the number 58. They've got Dustin Scruggs and Wesley Pistole, two fast trucks behind them as well. It's going to be 9 to go, Chris, on this restart. Pace car is going to pull off. It's going to be on Patrick Colby, who's elected to go to the outside to mash that throttle. He's got to be careful on old tires not to spin them here.
Yeah, he does, and we'll see. He waits a little bit longer in the Geico restart zone there.
Gets a good restart, kind of snookers the field, and he did everything he had to do for a driver on 20-lap old tires. The driver of the number 9 certainly made it work. He's got about a car length on Justin Wilson, but Wilson cuts through the field like a butter knife. He's going to jump underneath the 9, Chris. He did what he had to get by Jacob Bradley. Justin Wilson to the point. Jacob Bradley is mired back. He's boxed in behind the 9 to the outside of the 46. He can't go anywhere. He's got to be frustrated and fuming. He gets turned. Chase Berry turns the number 50, Jacob Bradley. Berry's going to turn Ryan Jones as they head down the corner. Will they gather it up? No, they do gather it up, but caution is going to come out regardless here for Jacob Bradley, who had contact with his Payday Racing teammate, Chase Berry. Chris, what a turn of events there on lap 138. Jacob Bradley's night goes from bad to worse in a swing of about 2 laps.
It does. Right here, he's boxed in, as you mentioned, boxed in behind Patrick Colby. Oh, yeah, and there was a little bit of contact right there. So they're just running really, really tight together right here down the front stretch. We're actually going to go to the chopper view and look at this from overhead. Chase Berry in that green and yellow truck to the inside right there. And a little bit of net code. A little bit of net code right there between those two trucks. And, man, sometimes when you're running that close together, that's all it takes is just a little bit of net code to turn them around. And, yeah, the grandstands are going to get in our way here. So we'll look at it right here coming down the front stretch. And they're just running really tight together there. And I don't know if it's kind of hard to tell if it's if we see Bradley's truck easing over before the net code, or see if we can see it right here from this perspective. Yeah, he's easing over a little bit, yeah, and they just come together, and that's just one of them racing deals, I think. Obviously, nothing maliciously intended there, I don't think, and yeah, you mentioned it before, there was almost a bigger crash down here in 1 and 2. We'll watch this as Rye Jones and Chase Berry. Oh, man, Dustin Scruggs, what a heck of a save from the driver of the 11.
Yeah, that was impressive. And it's going to put him up into the 4th position, Chris. He's got Wesley Pistole in front of him in 3rd. But we mentioned it. Lots of drivers did yeoman's work there to avoid any serious issues. Evan Pienta obviously hardened the wall along with Jacob Bradley. But several drivers did a lot of great work and a lot of good handwork to avoid any sort of more serious incident there. Jacob Bradley obviously going to be the biggest loser here, Chris. But Randy Bechdel, Chris, he's somehow mired back in 13th. I'm not sure if he got contact from that incident or not. But Randy Bechdel, I thought he might have a chance back in 14th. He's on pit road right now. So yeah, I think he got some damage, or maybe he's just coming down and getting fresh tires here. But and he's back in 15th. So, Chris, we're looking, everyone up at the top has had trouble tonight. Aaron Smith, your points leaders, had trouble. Randy Bechdel, Scottie Sobczak, Jacob Bradley now. If you would have told me that our top 4 would have had trouble at the beginning of the night, I probably would have laughed you off. But right now, Josh Ward sitting in 6th, looking to make up a pile of points on a lot of these guys running in 6th position right now. So kudos to Josh Ward for staying out of the trouble tonight, but I don't think our trouble is going to be done, Chris. Justin Wilson, he's lined up in the lead. He's definitely got the fastest truck, fastest set of tires at this point with just 7 laps on him. Patrick Colby's kind of the sitting duck with 27 laps on those tires. Wesley Pistole, Dustin Scruggs, 3rd and 4th. Rye Jones, 5th. Josh Ward, 6th. Scott Tompkins, 7th. Lap 141 of 146, just 5 to go. We're going to have a restart probably with about 3 laps to go, and it is going to get wild and intense. We talked about what a tough track Darlington is and the limited amount of space these drivers have, Chris. They're going to be using every bit of it on this final, I hope it's final, restart. Derek Fike in the chat says Bechdel didn't have a great restart. I think he's watching that 51 car pretty closely, that 51 truck closely on this restart. It says on that last one, the 51 did not get a great restart. So Randy Bechdel's going to get fresh tires, try a second shot at it here. I think Bechdel's hoping that there's going to be another caution and he's not going to be in it. Going to be starting 13th here. We've got some guys who normally aren't running up in the top 10, Chris, running up around there. Sean Johnson running 9th. Buckshot Jones or Nick Cesare in the 00 running 10th. Ryan Hinkle with a great run in that number 99 truck sitting in 11th. And Lee Campbell sitting in 12th, Chris. Good run for a lot of these guys here. Darlington, a race of attrition. We're getting up for our final, or what looks to maybe be the final restart. I think what drivers and myself are hoping is the final restart. And you see Buckshot Jones there. Nick Cesare asked me to change his name for the race, Chris. And I know I forgot to tell you, and you were a little surprised when Buckshot Jones popped into the race.
That's all right. I'm all for it. I'm all for a little bit of Buckshot Jones love in any type of a race. But I want to quickly bring up, I think that this caution was a huge, huge benefit for Patrick Colby. We know that the tire disadvantage that he has, and this is just more laps to run under caution. So I didn't think Patrick Colby had much of a shot to get a better finish than what he would have got before. But I think he's got a really good shot at it now as the pace car pulls off.
Justin Wilson's got the best shot of all, starting on the inside from the lead. He's going to wait to hit that Geico restart zone. He's going to mash that throttle once he gets there. When's he going to hit it? He goes pretty early on in the box, Chris. That 58 gets a nice jump on the restart. He's clear sailing out in front, down into turn 1. Wesley Pistole looking to make quick work of the 9 truck of Patrick Colby to the inside. Pistole's got his eyes set on a victory here at Darlington. He's no stranger to victory lane at Darlington Slingshot Racing League. Won a Truck Series race, I believe, here a couple of seasons ago. He's got a pretty fast truck there on the outside. Don't count out the driver, that number 94, Chris. He's not one to sleep on here. He closes the gap. Pistole now about a half a car length back on the 58. He's going to force the issue down into turn number 1. We've got 3 laps left. Justin Wilson in that bright green and yellow machine doing everything he can to get clear of the number 94 of Wesley Pistole. It's a 2-car race unless they tangle. That way, the number 91 and the 11 of Scruggs and Jones might slip into the picture. But right now, it's all eyes on the front. The 58 and the 94 trade blows. It's the 58 leading with 2 laps to go, but the 94 quickly closes back to a car length. Pistole looking to make any work he can with the back bumper of that number 58 of Justin Wilson, carrying it down into turn number 2, off a 2, down the back straightaway. Pistole loses a little bit of momentum in that orange Ford F-150 Tennessee Volunteer paint scheme. He tries a different line on the outside there. Justin Wilson low, Pistole a little bit halfway up the track, closes the ground again out of turn number 4, Chris. I don't think the number 94 is done. Can Justin Wilson hold off a hard charging number 94? Chris, you can't make mistakes, and right now with a mirror full of orange, Justin Wilson, he's seeing orange in his visor right now, trying to do everything he can to get through turn number 3. Now 4, Justin Wilson's got to hold off Wesley Pistole here at Darlington. Justin Wilson wins the UD Awards Southern 200. Pistole second, Jones third, Dustin Scruggs is fourth. Wow.
Yeah, what a charge right there from Wesley Pistole. He definitely made Justin Wilson earn it for sure, and man, Wilson gained some ground in the points tonight.
That was a major charge in turn of events for Wesley Pistole there, Chris, in the closing laps. The cautions fell where he needed them to, and he made quick work of several of those cars on older tires in front of him. So great job, Justin Wilson, your winner. Wesley Pistole second. Rye Jones walks away with a third-place finish after getting by Dustin Scruggs late on in the race. I'm going to take a moment to bring these drivers into the broadcast booth to hear what made them what made them tick over the course of these 146 laps at Darlington. Watching Justin Wilson do a burnout right now. We'll go ahead and pull in your third place finisher, Rye Jones. Let's see if we can get him in here. Maybe.
I can get him in here if you need me to.
I think I got him. For some reason, my wasn't letting me drag him up for some reason. And it's still... There we go. I got it. We got it. All right, Rye Jones, third place finisher tonight. It's Ellis and Chris up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hello.
Hey, man, wild race. You started in the 12th position. You worked your way up through the field earlier in the night, and I think you had your moments where you fell a little bit. Walk us through kind of the strategy tonight. I feel like there were a lot of comers and goers over the course of the race, a lot of different storylines to follow. Talk to us about kind of your experience with let's just start at the end, that final set of restarts, final 10 or 15 laps. Walk us through kind of what propelled you into third position.
A little bit of luck and perseverance, I would say. I had a really good short run going, but for some reason, and I really think it's because of my pedals. I struggle with the Logitech pedals I have. I'm really trying to upgrade to the V3s here soon, but I struggle with the feel of the throttle and the brake, and I think I've been putting too much throttle in pretty much every corner, and it was just burning my right rear up. Like I talked to the Payday guys, and they'd throw out their tires, and they were, the right front to right rear was kind of closer together, but my right rear was like getting eaten alive. So I was definitely overcooking them, and so I would have a great short run, and the last long run I tried my best to make it work, but I had a really bad pit stop. I missed my box, and I lost like maybe 8 seconds on the track, so that really kind of killed me. I was at that point, I could have maybe just had a top 10, but when the caution came out, I felt a little better. I was like, I'm good at the short runs. I'm good at restarts. That's just a natural thing for me. And I got a little lucky moving up through the field and restarting on the inside. Both those last restarts is kind of what saved my butt. And was able to get on the very last one. I was just able to give Pistole a really good push, and lo and behold, all of us that were on the bottom there finished 1, 2, 3. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, you had a good run. Before we let you go celebrate that third place finish, you got any shout outs?
Thank you guys. Can't wait to watch the replay again. You guys always put a good show. Shout out to everybody that did some throwbacks this week. A lot of cool trucks out here, and shout out to the payday teammates. Got to thank Johnny, Randy, Chase, Jacob. Sorry that they kind of got involved in an incident there. It just kind of was a racing deal. And then, of course, Justin for pulling off the win, and all the sponsors. And, yeah, can't wait for one more week of racing.
Yep, Charlotte next week, man. We'll talk to you then. Have a good week. Rye Jones, third place finisher tonight.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, so that was your third place finisher. We're going to hear from Wesley Pistole, who charged into the second position. We're going to bring him into the broadcast booth. Give us just 1 second. All right, Chris, he is in here.
Wesley Pistole, our second place finisher tonight. This is Slingshot Booth. You got a copy?
10-4.
Man, we were watching you for a portion of this race tonight because we know your track record here at Darlington. Man, something about you and this place, it just seems to click. And right there at the end, man, you were making Justin Wilson earn that victory. Did you think you had a shot for him there on that final restart?
Yeah, this place is good to me. It seems to take care of me pretty well for some reason. Fits my driving style, I guess. Nah, not really. I was getting some small runs on him, but I think he's the leader, so he just has to hit his marks. He's not pushing real hard, whereas I've got to do extra work to try to get around him. So that's probably why I was slightly, faster at certain points, but he's been the fastest, one of the fastest all year. I got a little bit lucky tonight, just missed a lot of messes. So I was not second place material all night tonight, but it worked out for me there at the end.
Well, you definitely kept the nose of that Ford F-150 clean. And moving on to next week at Charlotte, you are going to be racing for the Buttkicker Bracket Challenge bracket winner. You'll be racing for that Gamer Plus package. How you feel about next week going into Charlotte?
Yeah, I like Charlotte pretty well too. I forget who I'm racing against, but I like Charlotte pretty well. It's another track that I've had some decent success. Probably I won once at Darlington. The next closest I've come to winning was at Charlotte. So I think I'll be pretty competitive there. Should be a pretty good time.
I can tell you right now, I can confirm that you'll be racing against Jacob Chase for that Buttkicker Gamer Plus package. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that next week, and a close eye on you guys and see where you guys are at on the track compared to each other. Any shout-outs that you want to give before we let you go celebrate this second place run?
Yeah, I got. I asked a few people to watch tonight. I don't know if they're all still here or not, but my fiance Stacy, hopefully she's still watching. My dad, my uncle Jimmy. I got a couple cousins, Daniel and Daryl, that sometimes tune in. So hello to all y'all if you're still up. I guess that's about it.
All right, man. Well, hey, congratulations. Great run tonight, and we look forward to watching you next week. That is Wesley Pistole, your second place finisher tonight. Congratulations, bud.
Thanks, guys. Go Vols.
Roll Tide. All right, man. We'll move him into the top 3 waiting room, and we'll pull in Justin Wilson, who was our winner tonight. Pull him up into the broadcast booth. All right, Justin Wilson, driver of the number 58 truck. Congratulations, man. Found victory lane for another time this season. I know it hasn't been the season that you're looking for, but does this victory help at all as we wind down the season headed into the finale next week?
Oh, yeah, it definitely does. I always liked Darlington, always done well at Darlington. I knew I felt like I was the fastest car on long run speed, so cards worked out in our favor. I was kind of worried there at the end that, on the short run, but I was able to just push a little harder than I normally do.
Man, we saw you racing Jacob Bradley pretty aggressively early in the race. And talk to us a little bit about kind of your experience just racing around guys tonight. Darlington's a tough track. Did you have any moments where you kind of held your breath and thought the race might be over for you?
No, I mean, I know Darlington's a tight track. We got to run side by side. It's a little frustrating having to race with Jacob, running him down from a good second and a half back, but is what it is. He's got to fight for the championship just like the rest of us do. But I mean, I have no shot. I've missed too many races, but It was all good and fun. I knew I had the long run speed though. I definitely knew if we were going to have full fuel length runs that I would definitely be the car to beat. So,
man, you were definitely the car to beat over the course of the long runs. We're going to let you go celebrate this victory, but you got any shout outs before we let you go do that?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for putting the show on. Thank Apex Energy for sponsoring the Payday Racing team, and we did pretty good there. I know things got a little hectic at the end. Unfortunately, this is my last race, so I'm glad that I was able to pull on the win. I'm not going to be able to make it next week. I got a business trip I got to take care of, but going out on a high note this season, and be looking forward to next season.
All right, man. Justin Wilson going to be on a business trip next week, but he took care of business tonight here at Darlington, winner of the UD Awards Southern 200. Justin Wilson, congratulations, man.
Thank you. You guys have a good night.
You as well. Man, Chris, this race had a lot going on. We saw a lot of action early on, but saw some green flag runs with some exciting green flag pit stops that really kind of staggered the field and put drivers on different strategies. Justin Wilson really able to capitalize on having the fastest truck all night long over the course of the long run and kind of staved off challengers, even a hard-charging Wesley Pistole in the closing laps. Darlington proved to be as challenging as we had talked about it being in the pre-race. Drivers who, went side by side into the corners, Chris, they paid the price. We definitely had some drivers get away with it, but I think you and I were both kind of holding our breath for several moments over the course of this race, and that's the beauty of Darlington. It's a track that we really see challenge the technical abilities and thinking of a lot of drivers as well.
Yeah, I brought it up last week. This is one of my favorite tracks. I always love racing here, and I think that a lot of drivers, you hear a lot of drivers talk about how much they love racing here too. And I brought it up last week when, in our preview, as we were looking forward to this week. I think that drivers like this track so much because it feels like you can make a difference. Whereas, like, a lot of times in trucks, when we go to 1.5 miles, 2 mile tracks, like, they're such draft fests, and you're running almost wide open at a lot of those places, and it doesn't really feel like you can make a big difference. But here in one of these trucks, you feel like you can really make a difference, like with your technique. And with your driving style, that maybe saving tires, or like I said, getting off the corner. You feel like you can. This is more of a driver's track than any other one that we go to. And Justin Wilson coming away with a victory tonight.
Man, this championship is feeling like it belongs to Aaron Smith. I believe I'm checking the points here on my screen right now, and I don't want to say he's locked it up, but it is. It's looking like right now he's got a. He's got a 30-point lead. So Randy did close it up with a 9th place finish. Randy Bechdel does close it up to a 30-point lead, which I don't want to say it's impossible to catch in one race, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, what those guys needed, obviously Aaron had a bad night tonight, got caught up in that crash early, and I think he had some troubles after that as well. Unfortunately, Randy Bechdel and Jacob Bradley, Randy really needed to, be up here on the podium, I think, tonight. This was the night that he needed to be up there, regardless of the run that Aaron Smith had, and especially with Aaron having trouble. As we go through the 11 through 20 right here, we're going to go to the next page, and you will see Aaron Smith finishing in the 21st spot. So while Aaron does lose some points, does lose some ground, he just doesn't lose a ton of points like he could have.
Yeah, kind of salvages those final 6 positions. And we had 27 drivers, which is a couple less than normal. So definitely worked in his favor tonight. Chris, a lot of drivers had pretty good runs. We mentioned them towards the end of the race. Sean Johnson walks away with an 8th. We're not used to seeing him in the top 10 on a regular basis. Ryan Hinkle, great job finishing 11th. We saw that. Buckshot Jones, a.k.a. Nick DeCesare, brings it home 13th. Lee Campbell, top 15. Chris, lots of drivers. Matt Kuntz, 18th. Darren Berg gets a top 20, so lots of drivers had good, solid runs tonight. They're able to handle that attrition and kind of handle the tough nature of this race. Looking through the rest of the finishers there, Patrick O'Toole. We didn't get to focus on Patrick O'Toole's number 44 Terry Labonte paint scheme, which was a great-looking paint scheme, but he was out early before we were able to get to him. So, we'll have to maybe see if we can show that if he races it next week on the track at Charlotte. In our finale, Chris, we mentioned it. Next week, our finale at Charlotte, championship finale. Randy Bechdel doing whatever he can to try to chase down Aaron Smith, but it's going to be tough going for him. 30 points back. Driver's going to be racing for the win next week. It's going to be a wild race. These trucks are going to draft pretty well at Charlotte, and man, we're going to go out this season with a bang as one driver looks to claim the UD Awards Championship Trophy for the Apex Energy Truck Series presented by Hank Thomas Performance. We are going to shut it down for tonight. Everyone, we appreciate you joining us. If you stuck around to the end of the race, extra kudos for you for being a hardcore fan. If you're watching live or watching on the replay, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. A lot of our viewers do not subscribe, are not subscribed. It's very easy. Just hit that button. Give the thumbs up button a click to like the video. And tune in next week, 8:30 Eastern Time, for the conclusion of Season 6 of Slingshot Racing League and the Apex Energy Truck Series. There is a concluding race tomorrow night for the MX-5 Sports Car Spring Classic from Lime Rock. Those Mazda Miatas going to be racing one final time this season around Lime Rock. Several drivers looking to claim a win. Road course experts, so to speak, tomorrow night looking to take down Aaron Smith, Chris. And I think they might have a chance tomorrow night. Tonight, Aaron showed he is human. So a lot of drivers going to be smelling the blood in the water, so to speak, for tomorrow night. Same time, 8:30 Eastern Time on our YouTube channel. Everyone have a great evening. Enjoy your week. We'll catch you next week at Charlotte for the finale. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith in the booth for Slingshot Racing League. So long.